Hey guys, it's Candy, and I'm gonna do a coloring series. I couldn't decide how to best do it, showing how I color, because I color with so many different mediums. So I thought I would do a little series on coloring. The first one that I'm gonna use are these Zig Clean markers. I just picked these up not too long ago, and I've seen where some people do the color and put it on the lid. I just turn mine upside down in the case so that I can see the color. They're pretty close to being true color, and on with these, real quick, it's best to use watercolored paper, and like you can use it straight on the paper, or you can blend it out with your water tip, and it's not going to work real well because this isn't watercolor paper, but you get the idea. Or you can put it on a colored block or a clear block or clear piece of plastic or your craft mat and pick up the color off of that. So I'm going to try and do this. Hopefully this is a good camera angle and you can see, but I'm just going to quick show you without hopefully too much talking or too many interruptions from my little guys of how I kind of color. So this first one, I'm just going to kind of color the tires in, and you can't see them too well in this picture, and there's a white wall, and then I'm going to color the inside of the tires with this gray, and I tend to go a little more simple with mine, just because you can add a lot with shading. So I'm not even going to add water to that. I'm happy with the gray here. I'm just going to leave that alone. So the next thing I'm going to color here, I think, is oh, there's one more tire. I forgot that tire. So I'm just going to color that tire in and just kind of give it a gray here. Okay. And then since I've got the gray out, I'm going to go ahead and color the bumper. Gray too. And maybe I'll leave that. Yeah, I think the rest I'll leave. Maybe the handle I'll color in here. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of gray tint to the windows, just so it doesn't look like I didn't color them. And I have two different water brushes. This big one here is from Stampin' Up. And then I picked up a little one that works a little bit nicer with really small areas. And I just picked this up at Michael's. It was, I think, $5 or $6. I can't remember. So in this one, I'm just going to add a little bit of water to kind of wash that through. And then I'm going to color the grass here, and where it's darkest, I'm going to put dark green. A little dark green for under. And then I'm going to add a little bit of light green, or a lighter green in here. And I'll show you the pack of markers that I got. And I got it on Amazon, and you know, I had seen all different prices all over the place for these, and they were fairly expensive. But I found them cheapest on Amazon. So my husband has Amazon Prime, so for Mother's Day they got these for me. So I'm just using my water brush to kind of spread those dark and light colors around. It's kind of lighter towards the front. And this is a fairly simple image, so I'm not going to go too crazy with the shading. I just don't think it needs it. And I usually go outside the lines a little bit. And I found the messier I go, the better it looks. I used to be very crazy. To clean my brush, I just kind of wipe it off on the paper. So hopefully you guys can see this okay, and I'm not blocking too much. So now I'm going to go in and do the apples. Just add a little color here and there. You don't have to be precise because it's real small. And now I'm going to do a second color just so that it give a little bit of dimension in here. I'm going to keep the darker just a little bit lower. And now I'm going to take that fine water brush that I've got, hopefully you can see that, and I'm just going to kind of spread that water around, or that ink around a little bit. And I do like to separate a little bit when it gives it time to dry. And that way if I want to add a little bit of color to one side I might add a little bit of yellow to these apples on some of the spots that I'm missing here. So I'm going to let that dry before I add the yellow. And I do like the grass, but I think I'm going to add just another little shade of color in here, just to give it a little bit more dimension. Just a tiny little bit. As you can see, I just kind of threw it in there, taking my water brush and just kind of smooshing it around. And really not a lot of rhyme or reason, just kind of what I think looks nice. Okay, so that's that. And now I'm gonna start coloring the truck. And because the truck is bigger and I want to control the color, I'm actually gonna color on my block here and pick up the color from the block. So I've got a little bit darker blue here, a little bit lighter, kind of a more I don't even know the difference. This is just a little bit darker. This is a little bit more turquoise maybe. And I've got my big water brush to start. So I'm going to pick up the darker and just kind of hit some of the areas that I think would be darkest. And a lot of times what I do is wherever the dots are is kind of where it's going to be darkest. And pick up a little more, and if I don't like it, I can always go back and go over it. And this will be a little bit darker. So I kind of want a washed out, faded truck look. My dad actually had a truck like this, but it was green. So I'm just coloring it in, and like I say, I'm not being too careful with this, because I think when you're watercoloring, it kind of looks better when you're a little messy. That's just my thought. And what I've done too is I watch a lot of people who color and just see how they're doing it, and I just try to copy. And like I say, I am not an expert by any means. I just kind of go with what looks good. And I'm still with that darker color. And I think that sign here should be white. And I kind of just blew it there. Kind of went over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pick it up and push it out. And then kind of just touch up. Usually I have a paper towel, but I didn't grab one. So I'm just going to go a little. This is where that other paint brush would probably, or the water brush would be a little bit better because I can do a little finer work. Okay. And as it's drying, I'm kind of seeing where I've missed stuff, and inside here is probably a little bit darker. And I think I'm going to switch now to that other brush because it's a little bit finer tip. And I'm just going to kind of get it wet here. Okay guys, sorry about that. My camera cut out, so I got the finer tip brush. And now I'm just going to add a little of this other blue in here just to highlight a couple spots. Kind of blend it in here. Not going to go too crazy. Give it a little, just a little bit of different tone here. I'm going to try to go quick so I don't think I have very much memory left on my phone. So I'm actually liking the way that looks. And then hopefully you're not hearing my kids cuss in the background. They're just playing video games, being very naughty because they know I'm busy. Not cussing too bad, just saying H-E-double-L hockey sticks, but still, they know I'm busy here. So just coloring up the baskets, and I think I'm just pull a little bit of this brown from the baskets into my apple. Okay, try this again. Sorry about that. My phone just keeps dying on me. So I was adding brown to the basket. I see a little edge here that I didn't quite get colored here. I don't know what is wrong with my phone. I used to have a ton of memory, and I don't know, every time I upgrade it, it like gets worse and worse. I hardly have anything on here anymore. I've deleted a ton of apps, deleted a ton of photos. So anyway, so that looks good to me. And I know this is kind of quick and dirty. So the last thing that I like to do is when it's all dry, go around it with a color, you know, like a gray. Last time, I promise. So like I was saying that I like to color, after this is all dry, color the sky or use my ink to make like a sunset. I'm gonna let this dry, but real quick I wanted to show you the markers before it dies again that I'm using. And then again, I got this on Amazon.